Yeah, I'm already embarrassing her, so.
Oh no, she's like, ugh, Dad's in the other room with doing a podcast again. God.
Well, I mean, if there was a mark of like embarrassment, that's probably up there. Yeah, my dad's a podcaster.
That's a valuable skill to add to the resume.
In like 10 years, there's going to be like 25% podcasters at like Parent Career Day.
What's that movie? Is it ahead? I'll ask her later, she'll say, I haven't seen it.
Welcome to the Haven't Seen It podcast. This is a podcast where we bring people on the show and we get them really drunk and they tell me about a movie that I've never seen before. I'm Alenka Zach.
And I'm Will.
And welcome to, in case you didn't hear it, the Haven't Motherfucking Seen It podcast. And guess what, baby? The doctor's in!
You bet your ass he's in.
Hi there.
That's the sound of a confident doctor.
Yeah, I'm going to come in real hot on the mic.
I would have you check my pulse. It's there.
Great.
Don't do my job for me.
You're right. That's all doctors do. That's all my doctor does, at least.
Well, guys, you heard him. You heard his voice. No, I don't think he has a PhD, but he is a doctor. He's the host of the Dr. DC podcast, as well as a producer of the Brainfreeze Podcast Network, the network that we are under. We're talking to Reid Vanier today. Welcome to the show.
Howdy. Thank you for having me.
It seemed like obligatory.
Is it too like? Does it display too much hubris if I like demand that you call me your Podfather?
Oh my God. So it's funny you say that because earlier you said you feel like you have to impress me, but I feel like this is an interview essentially. Like I'm trying to impress you to keep our spot on the network here.
Right. Like the boss has dropped in to see how things are going.
Yeah. This is a stressful podcast for me personally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you listen to our show, you know that the bar's pretty low. So I think you're fine. You're going to do just fine.
Sweet. I can do this. I got this.
What are we talking about today, Alenka?
Ooh, I just remembered. Boy, I hope it's still accurate. We're talking about Casablanca, baby.
That's right.
Yeah,
baby.
Yes, baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Alenka said baby like one time or a few times during our show, but I've been listening to your show for like probably 2 or 3 years, and you guys say that all the time.
Oh man.
It's definitely just, I say it in real life now too. I have to like catch myself at work so I don't go like, oh, it's done, baby, or like in an email or whatever to my boss.
An email. It's so habitual for you that you're even typing it out at the end of your sentences just to tie everything together.
I actually do. There's a few people that I message with where I will write it out like, baby.
How many Y's are in that exactly? Because that's important.
Here, I'll tell you how I spell it. It's very simple. It's B-A-Y-B, as many E's as you need.
Okay. As many E's as need. Perfect.
To emphasize the point.
Yeah. It only makes sense. How many? Oh, never mind.
You go. Sorry. How many what?
No, I retracted it immediately in my mind because I was going to try to tie it back to Casablanca. And I was like, how many fucking B's are in Casablanca? One.
The troubles of 3 people don't amount to a hill of beans, baby.
Is that a line from the movie?
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay. This is earlier I was thinking about not embarrassing myself, but I decided why not? That's the whole fun. Alenka's dum-dum. Casablanca's a place?
It is. It's in Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
I know. No, I know. Yeah, I've been there. Absolutely. This movie is pretty old, yes?
Yeah, from the 40s. It's set in like December 1941. I assume that it's filmed kind of somewhere around there because Humphrey Bogart, the star of the movie, was sort of
Sick
that like
name.
30s and 40s. Like he's like a legendary actor from any era, but specifically that one.
Yeah, for sure. No, I knew his name. for sure. Yeah. Okay. Is this the scene? Is this the movie with the scene at the end with the airplane and someone's like, something, regret it today, maybe not tomorrow, or something years from now?
Yes, it is that movie. You're 100%
Do you
right.
want to know why I know that?
Yes, I do. Of course.
Do you want to guess?
Oh, you were getting on a plane and someone said you're going to get on that plane. They
I
gave you
wish.
the speech, and then you
I
were like,
wish
"You're right, I
someone
will regret
cared
it,"
that
and then you got on the
much
plane.
about me.
Yeah.
And I got, oh, is that what she does? Is that what he does? There's a lady, I know. No, obviously not. I know about it because Family Guy made reference about watching Casablanca the porno. And they were like, it wasn't about leaving. It was like, you'll either regret it or not if you don't hop on this dick. Was the
craziest thing is that Casablanca is such like a quotable movie that now all I can think of are like how to turn those quotes into porn lines. Like this is gonna 100% ruin this movie for me.
All things quotable can be ruined. Misquoted.
That's
specifically.
True. Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah. I don't know anything other than that plane.
I mean, that's pretty good, though. I mean, that's a pretty iconic
That's
moment.
it?
Well, there are so many quotes even in that scene. He has the big speech about like you're going to regret
Those
it,
are
maybe
all
not today,
the
maybe not
quotes.
tomorrow, but someday and for the rest of your life.
For the rest of your life, that's what he says.
It's also the same scene where he says the problems of three people don't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world. It's also the scene where he says we'll always have Paris. These are all things we'll get to.
That's
but, like,
from that
scene
movie.
has, like, so many things that like you may probably have heard, probably have seen on Family Guy. So many things are from Casablanca. It's like an iconic, like masterpiece movie. One of the best movies ever made.
Okay, this is a love story?
In a sense, yeah, actually.
It's not?
I mean, it is, but it's sort of sad.
Yeah.
All right, here's what I perceived to have happened.
Okay.
Lady and boy, man, they go to vacation separately.
Right.
They meet somewhere. Perhaps Casablanca. Perhaps Paris, because I didn't know that line was in here. Maybe they meet in Paris and they fall in love. And that happens. And then later down the road in their lives, they go to Casablanca on vacation again. But this time the lady's like, oopsie, I don't like you anymore. And they break up. And she's like, I've had such a terrible time with you. I'm going to leave. And that happens. And that's how it ends.
I will say that some of the pieces were correct.
Yeah.
You had some of that jigsaw puzzle going on.
So if it's not a romance, though, then it must be he's a mobster.
Again, not exactly.
Perhaps.
This movie, maybe it's because it's in black and white, but it deals in shades of gray.
Is he a prostitute?
No.
Oh, how do you work that into a quote?
Is he like... So I don't really know what happens in that movie either. The Shades of Grey one had a really accidental, unfortunate...
That was me confusing the matter. It has nothing to do with 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh,
I just meant
great.
that like it's about like ambiguous morality and like they're in love but can't be together and like those kinds of shades of gray.
Oh yeah, sure. 'Cause, yeah, no, I know. That makes way more sense than what I was thinking.
That would have been an extremely progressive movie for the 40s.
Wouldn't it have been
just Humphrey Bogart tied up being whipped by Sam?
Yeah. More like
Wait.
Humpty Bogart, am I right?
Is that how it happens? I thought it was the reverse. I thought 50 Shades of Grey was like, everybody's like, oh yes, female empowerment, but is it not?
I
she in
actually
control?
don't know, but I think either way, displaying those kind of sex acts on screen wasn't going to happen in the 40s.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want to see that movie whatsoever. So,
but we'll talk about it soon.
I'm gonna be so uncomfortable. I'm so Catholic.
I think you should double down on the discomfort, and you should have Zach back on for that one.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I was hoping that we would shit on Zach this episode.
That'll be
I'm so glad you
3-hour
brought him up.
episode of Uncomfortable.
Zach, if you're listening, I love you, but you knew this was going to happen.
I'm going to hate that episode.
Now.
I'll cry.
Oh, well. I don't know if you will be crying after drinking our drinks. That was a terrible segue.
Not bad, though. It's better than whatever I did. How many bees in Casablanca?
Let me make some notes here on your podcast report card.
Oh, no.
Fuck, Will, pick it up.
That was like a C- segue. Great sense of humor.
You made me get the worst drinks. I refused to mix them. You gave me the option not to mix them, but I refused to mix them because I can't imagine them being good together.
But I do want to see.
What? I had to go all around town to find Brandy, and I had to go also all around town to find Jaeger because I refused to pay for alcohol that I was going to drink for one podcast.
So how on earth did you go about this? Were you just like, hey, friends, do you got me in the...
I texted the fanciest people I knew, and I was like, you have a well-stocked bar, right?
Are these fancy, like, things?
I mean, Brandy is.
I think Brandy is, yeah.
Yeah. Jaeger isn't as fancy.
No.
Especially when you bomb it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was nice of Will to say to put it in a nice glass so I wasn't just drinking it out of red Solo cups.
Well, otherwise it would have been,
memories.
as all beverages are in the Reid house, or in the Reid's household.
Yeah.
You only use red Solo cups.
How did you know the rule?
Well, I just got the vibe.
Oh, God. What
I'm just kidding.
Horrifying insult.
I'm sorry. You just don't have a green background like us, so I knew you were different.
It's true.
Well,
I'm sitting on the edge of my bed right now because I had to seclude myself in my bedroom because otherwise there would be a toddler running through the podcast the whole time.
Which kind of would have been enjoyable. Next time.
Am I supposed to start drinking these already? I can never tell when people start drinking on this show.
Oh, yeah, very fair. Usually
sometimes
immediately.
Before, sometimes during. Yeah. It all depends on who it is and how drunk they like to get.
Okay, I'm going to take a little sip of Brandy and a little sip of Jaeger before we get into it, just because I want to make sure that I'm participating.
I really enjoy
this combo of drinks. I call Vichy Water. Vichy. Can't remember how it's pronounced. Vichy.
Like
Vichy.
the designer?
Vichy Water. That's what this combo is called. French Brandy and German Jägermeister.
Okay,
and,
she's French. He's German.
No.
Okay.
That's not at all.
He's French. She's German.
Also no.
It doesn't work if you reverse it.
Someone invades France from Germany.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I will say
I'm
feeling these drinks. I'm feeling both of these drinks in my nose, but I think I'm ready. I'm feeling it.
I'm ready too.
You had a sip of both and you're like, whoa.
It's been a while since our episode is revolved around just straight liquor. It's not.
We had Uzu the other day.
Oh, that's true. No, I mixed mine with Blue Sourpuss and put it in a spray bottle, so that doesn't count.
Well, technically, it's all alcohol.
Well,
fine, Will. You got creative.
I'm mostly keto, so I don't really drink alcohol, and I'm in my 30s, and I have a child, so even just a little sip of this is like spring break.
Well, by the end of this, you're gonna finish those glasses.
those little goblet babies. All right. Did you talk about the drink?
I just did, yeah.
Was it thorough though?
It's fine.
Okay.
The drink's the title.
I guess we
People
find out enough about it later.
It's all going to fall into place.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Well, let's get into place. Reid, how does this movie start?
This movie starts with the old-timey, I think it's MGM logo.
What is that?
No, it's not MGM. Oh, who is it?
Oh,
But it starts with an old-timey film studio logo.
Yeah.
And then it goes into a very old timey, just like slowly spinning globe. Because the movie opens basically with like a voiceover giving you context, which is, and the context is essentially, it's World War II. Germany has invaded France. Northern France is occupied. People are trying to escape. They go from Paris down to Marseille, across over to Oran, and then take the train over into French Morocco to Casablanca, where they hope to catch a flight to Lisbon and henceforth to America for freedom. Which is basically this radio kind of announcing thing. Basically,
That was
says,
amazing.
the plot of the movie is about getting to America, and to get out of Casablanca, you have to get on a flight to Lisbon. And the movie basically says, like, write this down. This is literally what you need to know for the movie. And then we go to a scene where you see the French. Because like southern France was unoccupied during the war, and like French North Africa was unoccupied technically during the war, but they were all under the Vichy regime, like a puppet sort of French democracy.
What's
which was
Vichy
not really.
regime?
Yeah, it was
Basically,
like
they moved the French capital to Vichy, and they were sort of like a puppet regime to the Reich. They were technically not occupied, but they basically answered to the Germans.
Gotcha.
So you see, all of like the law enforcement in North Africa, and that's why everyone is French in this movie. You see this French guy, he gets like a telegram, like, and he hops on the phone and he goes, there's been like a murder of this German officer. He was carrying letters of transit, and they have gone missing. Arrest anyone suspicious looking, look for these, like, find these papers, find these transit papers, because they're like carte blanche, basically flights out of Casablanca. And so then it starts like the cops looking for whoever stole these transit papers, which is a pretty big piece of it.
Is there, what kind of music is this montagey by chance when the cops are going through, like,
not like a modern montage, but you do see like a couple of short clips of like people being brought in, like bringing in the usual suspects, which is a phrase that comes up a lot in this movie.
And they focus on this like one, I guess, well, we don't know where they're from yet, but this one couple, and they're like hoping to get out. And it's kind of an interesting, like you wonder, like, are these our main characters? But they're not, but they do come back later.
What a ruse.
But it's just trying to set up the idea that like, it cuts to Casablanca, and basically it's like some people just get stuck in Casablanca because they make it that far and then they can't get the papers to get on the flight to Lisbon to get out. So Casablanca has sort of become this home for all these like wayward souls, sort of displaced by the war.
But is it nice there?
I mean, the movie version of Casablanca seems fine.
Okay.
I don't
Very
know.
Beautiful.
I don't know what Casablanca is really like.
All right.
What I've seen.
You've upset me.
Pictures,
I'm marking
great.
my Reid report card. Not enough enthusiasm about Morocco.
Oh no, not like this.
It's an F plus on the travel guide.
Could you imagine if you opened a travel guide and it was like, I don't know, I've never been there.
I would be thankful for their honesty.
Yeah, fair enough. You see a German plane touch down at the airport in Casablanca, and all these German officers get out, and this is where we meet a couple of main characters. So we meet Major Strasser, who's this German officer who has shown up to like oversee that they find these papers. The papers cannot go missing.
That was slightly Arnold.
That's all I got.
It was weird watching this movie for me, like to watch a movie made in 1941 about Nazis while that was happening. Because every movie I'm used to is like, oh, this is history. This is actually happening at that time.
You're right. It is kind of strange that way. And then you also meet the head of like the French police in Casablanca. His name is Captain Renault, like the car. So Renault is this very like deferential, like, oh, hello, Germany. Thank you for coming. And he's saying like, we'll find the murderer, blah, 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 blah. And basically Renault says, listen, anyone who's anyone, if we're going to catch them, they're going to be at Rick's this evening. Rick's is the place in Casablanca. And it's where a bunch of illegal stuff goes down, or like people like, we're going to find them at Rick's. So they go, okay, we're going to go to Rick's. And then you shift to Rick's Café Américain, which is this very kind of like cool nightclub. And it's like a casino. And it's this very like, there's jazz music playing. It's a very cool place. Big open space, like the sort of like place that they don't make anymore. Yeah.
What the heck does cafe mean in French then? Because a cafe here is sure as shishka not a casino.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's because you could just stop in for a drink or something like that. But yes, it's definitely stretching the definition of the word cafe. I'm also not sure what precisely about it is American, other than maybe the jazz music. But it's a Café Américain, so there you go.
Yeah,
so it's a very diverse. It's a very diverse cafe. Really?
Yeah, it seemed like it's definitely friendly to all of these sort of wayward people. There's people from all over who have ended up in Casablanca that go to this place. High rollers, low rollers. When you're in there meeting people, someone says like, "Can I talk to Rick?" And he's like, "I'm the second most important person at the Deutsche Bank or the Swiss Bank or whatever." And the guy says, "That won't impress Rick. The first most important person at the Swiss Bank is his chef now." So it's trying to portray that like all these people have had to leave their lives behind. They're stuck in Casablanca. But that Rick seems to be like the great equalizer where like everyone is sort of friendly, roughly.
He's the neutral American.
Rick is, of course, our main character, played by Humphrey Bogart. His name is Rick Blaine, which is like a weirdly modern name.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's like Stallone's next movie where he plays Rick Blaine.
Yeah. Yeah, Rick Blaine sounds like he needs the nuclear codes.
Yeah. But I don't know Stallone movies, so perhaps that was a reference and I just didn't.
It wasn't, no.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're in this cool club. We finally meet Rick, and we're hearing about him from other people too, like because people want to brush up close to him because he's a big deal. So we hear that he doesn't drink with customers. We hear he like doesn't basically like play the gambling games. He doesn't come out on the floor. He doesn't all of these sort of things. But we do see him, and then we meet another classic actor who's in this. Peter Lorre plays this guy named Ugarte. You would probably recognize Peter Lorre from like old Looney Tunes cartoons because they used him as a model for. He was like sort of like big eyes, and he would talk like this, that sort of like Igor voice. That's Peter Lorre.
Oh yikes! He looks odd.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Iconic
actor. So he shows up and basically he says, Rick, maybe you heard somebody has these letters of transit. He's like, I need you to hold on to them for me. And Rick goes like, I don't want them here overnight. This is going to cause me trouble. And Ugarte says like, please, Rick, I'm going to sell them. I'm going to make a lot of money. You'll never see me again. And they go like, okay, fine. And so Rick takes the letters of transit, these missing pieces of paper. He takes them from Ugarte.
That's hot open. That is a lot going on right away.
And I found it really hard to follow because people talk so fast in these movies. Everything
I will say that like the dialogue is crazy snappy in these movies. Like the way that no one talks, but kind of almost feels like how they talked in the 40s.
Yeah.
It's like someone would come in and be like, hey, what are you doing tonight? And you'd be like, I never planned that far ahead. And he's like,
everybody's just way smarter. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone is the coolest possible version of themselves, basically, in this movie.
I wish.
Yeah. So you see that. You meet another character. His name is Signor Ferrari, who runs like a rival cafe.
The Ferrari business. Oh.
Yeah. Founder of Ferrari.
Yeah.
He should have.
he runs like this rival business, but he's also like he's very invested in the illegal activities of Casablanca, and he keeps trying to buy Rick's bar, and Rick keeps saying like, it's not for sale. And then he goes, how about for this? And he goes, it's still not for sale. Like what? He's just being snappy.
Yeah.
So you meet him, and he goes away. It's basically you're meeting a lot of people in this scene. You meet you meet Rick's sort of lover, who basically she's the one that says like, like, what are you doing tonight? And he goes, I never planned that far ahead, dame, or like whatever he says to her.
Oh man.
And he sort of jilts her, and then she gets drunk at the bar, and he like makes her go home basically. So you see that he doesn't put up with shenanigans in his bar, all that kind of stuff. And then finally, I think that's when the Captain Renault and the German Major Strasser show up, and they say like, we've learned a lot about you. We know so much about you, Rick. And you sort of get this hint that like before he was Rick, mysterious guy that runs this bar, he used to be like Rick, possibly freedom fighter. Because he's not allowed to go back to the States and all this kind of stuff. He's, you
so
get
he's
like
an American
mystery. Yes, Rick is an American.
That's why a cafe is American.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally the only like American thing about it. Him and the piano player Sam.
Yes,
yeah,
the boy Sam, as they reference him.
Is he actually a young boy?
Because it's the 40s and Sam is black.
Okay.
I will say Rick generally is pretty good to Sam, but there is a conversation, I think, in this scene with Signor Ferrari, when Signor Ferrari is like, I want to buy your bar, and then Rick's like, it's not for sale, and he goes, how about Sam? And then Rick says, I'm not in the business of selling people. And then Signor Ferrari says something like, you make a lot of money. Like
he's like, I sell people. Fuck it.
It's
Jesus.
It's pretty messed up. But basically the German and this Captain Renault are like, listen, we think people are coming through here. Important people. His name's Victor Laszlo. He leads this like resistance movement. He's coming through here. We need to make sure you don't help him escape. Do you have the transit papers? And Rick goes, no, I don't know anything about these transit papers. And then they go, are you going to help Laszlo escape? And he says like, I stick my neck out for nobody. Rick is this like, I worry about me and that's it sort of person.
He's like the ultimate lawful neutral, or what is it? Chaotic neutral? No.
I would call him like lawful neutral. Yeah.
What is that all from? Is that not from?
That's like Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Yeah.
Is it Dungeons and Dragons or?
Yeah.
I thought that it was some sort of game. What was it called? Vichy game on the computer. On the computer. They made Skyrim also.
Oblivion?
Maybe. Anyways, it's fine.
Oh, like Elder Scrolls. You're talking about Elder Scrolls?
I don't know.
All right.
Go on.
Anyway, he's
wait, maybe you should emphasize what is lawful neutral.
He technically plays by the rules. He's not officially breaking laws. But he also doesn't pick a side. He's just like, if you leave me alone, I won't get in either of your ways. I'm not going to go out of my way. I'm not going to stick my neck out for someone to help them, even if it's the right thing to do. But I'm also not going to like go out of my way to like lick your boots like Captain Renault over here.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So they go like, all right, fine. We got an eye on you, Rick. And I think it might be in the same scene that because Renault knows like where these transit papers are, they're going to end up at Rick somehow. And I think they come to get Ugarte in this scene. So
he talks about like we're gonna arrest the man who murdered those carriers tonight here.
Yeah.
Like,
so it's definitely him. Like he has the papers and he's definitely killed them.
No. Rick has the papers, but Ugarte is the one who killed them.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So
the
French
name.
police go up and like Mr. Ugarte, will you please come with us? And he goes, oh yes, please. Can I cash out my chips first? And they go, yeah, sure, whatever. And he goes to cash out, and he's sort of looking around, and he sees there's a ton of like cops here for him. And as he's walking out, he tries to close the door behind him and like lock them in. And then he draws a gun, tries to shoot them, and it becomes this big like shootout. And Ugarte dies.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, and Rick does nothing. Like he runs up to Rick and he's like, Rick, you have to help me, please, please. And Rick's like, no, I stick my neck out for nobody. And he lets Ugarte basically get captured and stuff like that.
He allows a shootout in his bar, though, eh?
Well, I think he thinks it'll be quicker if he just lets it happen, lets them take him away, because he doesn't want prolonged trouble. He knows there's going to be some trouble, but...
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair. Logical.
So there's a shootout in this bar, and then it's like everything just goes back to normal. Like I was like, all right, let's gamble.
Everybody just does what Reid's doing right now.
I'm just dosing with these dainty cups right now.
dainty sippy poos from... Did you cheers your cups, Will, before you drank from them? That's
cute. Adorable. I love that.
It was so cute, wasn't it?
I might try to mix these now.
Oh, you're sick.
No. Oh, God, no.
I'm invading. Well,
you're going to regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday soon and for the rest of your life.
Definitely tomorrow. Probably minutes from now.
Maybe 2 days. You'll regret it.
I'm waiting for you, Will. I want to see what happens when you drink this concoction. Mm-hmm.
He's drank some ranky ass shit on this podcast.
And it's better than our quid pro quo with the bean juice.
Yeah.
That's not surprising.
Nothing could be
Nothing
worse.
is worse than that one.
You're disgusting. You even dug your own hole. You were like, I could froth bean juice.
That was actually Sam's idea. She was like, oh, you could like froth up the bean juice and make like a foam. And I was like, yeah.
You were like, good idea.
Good Lord. That is intolerably hipster of you.
Yeah, and he's from the Yukon, so he would know.
He's only faking it.
Don't I look hipster? I'm wearing like a mainstream superhero t-shirt and I'm sitting in my house that I bought. Isn't that the most hipster thing?
It is.
That's pretty hipster. You have a mortgage? Whoa.
Oh, it's not all it's cracked up to be, trust me.
No.
Right. So Ugarte is gone. But
dead.
They don't find the papers because of course Rick has them. He's hidden.
They don't kill him in a shootout though.
No, I think I jumped ahead. You find out he's dead later. Yeah, you find out that he's dead later. Like he dies off screen because there's a scene later where Captain Renault is like, "We're just filling out the report. We can't decide if it was a suicide or if he was gunned down." Like, it's just showing how corrupt the cops are, basically.
Yeah. He dies in custody, but yeah.
Oh, he dies in custody, not in the shootout at all.
I jumped ahead of it. Yeah,
that's fine, I guess.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Well, we're next introduced to the next two major players in this movie, because that's when Mr. Laszlo enters the building, accompanied by
so Laszlo,
a lady.
Laszlo is this like underground resistance leader that they want to make sure Rick doesn't help. They want to make sure he doesn't get his hands on the missing transit papers because he's too dangerous to be like to be allowed to leave, essentially.
And now maybe they explain this, but I don't understand why the Nazis don't just arrest him on the spot, because
technically they're in a foreign country.
Technically
it's all of this like
this is still unoccupied France, right?
Yeah, so like North Africa and southern France was technically not occupied by Germany. So there's all these sort of like diplomatic rules that they're sort of dicing around, because if they were to violate the quote unquote neutrality or whatever, then it would cause problems. I'll admit I don't fully understand why you don't just occupy the whole country, but it's probably about the manpower and stuff like that while you're also fighting a world war.
Yeah.
But yeah, this Victor Laszlo, he's Czech. He
is my dad.
Well, and you'll appreciate then that these glasses that I have are Czech crystal.
Ooh,
that was my little contribution to the drink for tonight. So
wow, I don't even know what that means. My dad tells me nothing.
These belong to my wife. But yeah, so he he escaped from a concentration camp and he's made his way to
Same.
Casablanca. So he's like, they have this sort of confrontation where it's like, we know who you are. We can't just do anything to you right now, but like, you're not getting out of Casablanca, basically. They tell Laszlo, like, the German Magistrasse is like, I think we should like go down to the prefecture or whatever. And like, we're going to interview you. And then Laszlo turns to Renault and says, you're in charge here. What should I do? And Renault says, please come down. And he goes, all right, sure. They're being like, it's this sort of like very tense kind of politeness.
Good cop, bad cop, basically.
It is kind of, yeah. Like they're all sort of technically playing by the rules, but they all like know that they all hate each other. But Laszlo doesn't show up alone. He shows up with his wife, Ilsa, played by Ingrid Bergman. Another
Googling.
iconic actress from the time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I know them. Ingrid
and
Bergman.
She's a Swedish actress. Yeah, Swedish?
Yes, she is.
Swiss.
Yeah.
No,
Swiss cheese.
Swedish is not.
No,
Swiss.
not Swiss. She's Swedish. Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah.
Swiss cheese.
But she shows up and she's definitely got history with Rick. We don't fully know what, but she knows Sam, the piano player. She asks him to play as time goes by, and Sam's like, I'm not allowed to do that. And then she goes, oh, go on, please play the old songs, play as time goes by. And he finally does. And then Rick shows up and he says, like, I thought I told you never to play. And then he sees Ilsa.
Interesting.
Before anything can happen,
she never actually does say play it again, Sam.
No, she doesn't.
Wait.
That's a fake quote.
That's
quote.
not. Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
It's a fake quote. It's not a real quote.
Can you explain?
Uh,
Stop. That was good.
No, they say
Never
they tell Sam, the
happened.
piano player, to play things, and they always say, play it, Sam, play it for me. But everyone quotes the movie as play it again, Sam. I don't know where that started, but
yeah.
It's
Do you
fake
think?
news.
Do you think that
Perhaps
do you
an
think that the
uncut
second-
version.
Do you think that the secondhand sporting goods shop in Ontario, Play It Again Sports, was based off the fake quote from Casablanca?
Oh my God. I think so.
No.
They've modeled their whole branding around it.
Is it used equipment? Is it
I
not?
thought it was. I thought it was this whole thing was that it was all like used in secondhand. And
Also,
stuff. At least the
Casa-
stuff I was getting was.
Casablanca, the uncut version, is definitely the porno version of this movie.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. Hashtag release the Snyder cut of Casablanca.
Yeah, okay.
The Snyder cut
The Snyder-
stresses me out. There's so many foreigners too in this movie that it could be a thing.
Sorry, that stresses
Probably
you
was
out.
a thing.
Foreigners in the movie.
No. I'm just saying that it was very probably likely. They got a bunch of
I
European
thought
ass
this podcast
people.
was taking like a weird alt-right turn or something.
Everybody chill out. No.
Um,
Well,
I'm
but funny,
for it.
Yeah, Rick
is
comes
that This
over-
movie is pretty diverse in its casting. There's a lot of
Mhm.
different people from different countries in this movie. It's not just like an American production.
Yeah.
Even just like the people working at Rick's, like the characters, even there's a German guy that's like the maitre d'. There's a Russian guy behind the bar. There's like, I think it is an Italian guy is running the roulette table in the back. It's the idea that Casablanca has become home to all these expats, basically. But yeah, Rick comes
that
over
makes
and he's
sense.
like, Sam, I told you never to play that song. And he sees Ilsa and they pause. And before anything can happen or they can say anything, Laszlo and Renault come over and join. And Rick violates his rule of never drinking with customers. And he sits down with them and has a drink.
Mhm.
And Rick picks up the check, which is another rule that he breaks of his own.
Interesting.
So we're
Trying
seeing
to
that, like,
impress someone.
Exactly. Ilsa is clearly important to him. They clearly have history. And then
They were married.
that's about, we don't get too much like a background on them. You just go like, oh yeah, well, we knew each other in Paris or something like that, but we don't get too much yet. And then, but later that evening, after everyone leaves and the bar is shut down, Rick is just drinking alone at a table, like heavily. And Sam is closing up, the piano player, and he says like, come on, we can go anywhere. We can go home. We can go we'll hit the town. We could get on a train. We can leave Casablanca. You and me, we're a team. And Rick basically goes like, play the song again. And he goes, I don't know if I should. He goes, you can play it for her. You can play it for me. Play it. And he makes him play as time goes by.
What is this song?
In his bar.
As time goes by. You would know it if you heard it. Don't
you could sing it. You could sing it.
Actually,
immediately. No,
like,
please don't play.
A kiss is just a kiss.
Yes.
Is it that one?
Look
okay.
is just a look.
I got it.
That.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well done.
It's in When Harry Met Sally a lot. The whole soundtrack in this movie is in When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah. And this
Pretty
is
much
when we get a flashback to Paris.
Uh-oh.
We see Rick and Ilsa together. They're like driving around Paris and they're sipping champagne and she's like putting flowers in the window and they are like the most in love. Rick is smiling for the first time in the movie.
I did notice that one.
It's kind of weird because Humphrey Bogart is so known as like a film noir, like a detective, like kind of character actor. Like he was in The Big Sleep and The Maltese Falcon and all these kind of things.
He does say
never
like
smiles.
that line, right? He says that line of all the gin joints and all the places in the world. You had to walk into mine.
Well, yeah. So he has this flashback of how happy they were, and then they learn that Germany is going to be they like the French are surrendering. Germany's going to be in Paris in like a couple of days, so they have to get out. So they like book train tickets and they meet Sam in a bar and they're all going to go together. So this is how like the three of them know each other. And then on the day where they're supposed to get on the train and go to Marseille to start that journey to Casablanca, Rick is waiting and it's pouring rain and Sam shows up and he goes like, Rick is like, where is Ilsa? And Sam says, well, she left this note, and he opens it up and it says, I can't go with you. I can't be with you, but I love you so much. Please, like, don't forget me, blah, blah, blah. And like the ink runs in the rain and he's like, it's just a very sad kind of moment.
Devastating.
And then, we come out of the flashback and I did prepare a special additional drink for this bit because this is where we get that gin joint line. So this is just a gin and soda water here that I got.
Nice. Oh my god, I thought it was all gin.
I know. I thought it was,
and I was
just
like,
a cup of gin.
I mean, it could be because I'm drinking non-alcoholic gin because I'm on keto right now.
Yeah. Oh man.
But he says of all the gin joints in all the like towns in all the world, she had to walk into mine. It's like he's clearly broken up. He didn't expect to see her again. He's heartbroken, but he's like he's become such like a toughened, like non-emotional guy. So this is like not a good night for him, basically.
So is this woman with that other guy, the dude that's going to the place?
Yeah. Ilsa is with Laszlo. They're married. Yeah.
Oof.
Well,
yikes. How much time do we think has passed?
Well, we learn a bit about this as we go through the movie. Because Ilsa actually shows up. Ilsa actually shows up while Rick is drunk, and she wants to explain to him what happened in Paris. And Rick is just too drunk, and he's like, "Get the hell out of here!" Basically,
important plot detail. From
I would want to know if I were him.
Ilsa in the flashbacks does tell Rick that she did love another man before him, but he's dead.
Yeah, there's like a thing that they have where they say like, "Oh, we were gonna ask questions" or something like that, and at some point, oh god, what's the?
Well, he goes. He's like, how am I so lucky to have you? Like, how is no one taking you, basically?
Oh, yeah. He says, who are you really? What were you before? What did you do? And what did you think? Huh? And then she says, we said no questions. And then later.
So he asks every question ever.
Yeah.
and then she does say that he basically says, or she says, like, you're trying to figure out why there's not, like, I'm not already taken. And he's like, yeah, basically. And she's like, well, I was. He's dead.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, so here we are.
So I bet. So now, don't you?
So
feel
you're
like
number
an
two. Yeah.
You're second
or
best.
like a piece of shit. Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, at this point now we've set up that Ilsa and Rick know each other. because they were in love. Ilsa and Laszlo are married. Laszlo is
Weird.
wanted by the Germans. He wants to get him and Ilsa out of Casablanca. The Germans and the French want to keep them in Casablanca, and Rick wants nothing to do with it, but now he's being drawn in because he knows her.
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of like your first act, I guess, really, of this movie.
Oh yeah, I would say.
I'm never clear on where the first act ends.
Are there multiple fade outs that go into the next scene? Is that the transition of choice?
There are lots of there are lots of crossfades, I would say, in this movie.
Yeah.
This
Lots of
movie takes
crossfading.
place over basically like 3 days, right?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's quick. This is not
Yeah.
like a long time. It's maybe 72 hours. It might be 2 days.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Wow.
think. Yeah, because then the next day, does everything happen that whole day?
Oh
No, there's a
you're-
third day.
you're
Yeah.
right. There's a third day because there's at least 2 nights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
2 nights faux show.
Yes. Yeah.
Do they get jiggy with it?
Oh, we can. Oh, yeah.
They
Maybe.
do.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I just
Will
heard
Smith
getting
did
jiggy with it.
Will Smith did a tie-in music video for this movie.
I would love that. I would love that. Like Wild Wild
It's just-
West.
It's just him on the runway with the plane, just doing the getting jiggy with
Wow,
it.
wow,
dance.
Wiz. I'd be so happy. Someone quick,
Oh
send
my
an
God.
email to Will Smith
He's just
and
like,
invite him to
"Here
do that.
Come the Germans.
Was that Michael
Nazis
Jackson?
taking over.
Come to
Yeah.
Casablanca.
That's a good. Ha ha ha. That's
Welcome
his
to
style.
Morocco. That was
Is that supposed to be
bad.
Miami?
No, that's supposed to be Welcome to Earth.
Oh,
Is
I
this
see.
from
I thought you
Space
were-
Jam?
What?
Is this from
No,
No, I
Space
think
Jam
that's
the
Men in-
movie?
that's he's doing Men in Black. I
Oh.
think.
Yeah. Will
You're
Smith
right.
was not in Space Jam.
I'm
No,
sorry.
that would have been incredible if he was.
Oh,
That would
God.
have been great. He should have been.
Will, how come I didn't get a package of the alcohol required for tonight?
I should have
We
express mailed it
could, but we won't.
I'm just gonna make another little note here on your report card.
Damn
Oh.
it! Oh,
Oh
no!
man, that was I really like Brandy face.
Yeah, it looked like it.
out.
Oof.
Ooh.
I prefer Monica.
Stop.
Little late 90s
1,
R&B
2,
reference there.
3, 4, 5. Everybody, that one. Take
No,
come on,
that
let's
was not
drive to
reference.
the. What is that one?
Was it,
Were
like
they?
Brandy and
are they
Monica were
both-
two like rival R&B singers from like the
Oh,
late
I
90s,
didn't
early
know
2000s.
Monica, but I only knew Brandy, so we can say who's
Oh.
more relevant. I was
Yeah,
thinking
fair
of that Mumbo Number 5 song.
Also iconic. It's sort of a shame that they don't play it in Rick's Cafe America.
They could. It was definitely
Yeah.
of the times.
Totally.
Speaking of, we left off
Oh.
finishing
See
Act
that?
1-ish.
Yeah, so the next day, so after Rick has gotten drunk and told Ilsa to leave, and he's had this very sad flashback, and we're like, oh, Rick's so complicated. Then the next day, Ilsa and Laszlo go to the prefect's office, like they were instructed to, where they meet with Captain Renault and Major Strasse. And the German tells him that like you will never escape Casablanca. We're never going to let you leave. You know that. I know that. You better get comfortable because you're going to be here a very long time. We've got our eye on you. And they do this sort of dance in that meeting where they're kind of dancing around each other. That's the meeting where Captain
Literally
Renault
dancing.
says, we're filling out the report on Ugarte. We're trying to decide if it was suicide or he was shot. Just showing how corrupt and like nonchalant he is with like just tossing the law around. Hashtag defund the police. And
Yep.
and then so they leave that meeting and they go like, obviously we still have to try and get out of Casablanca. So they go to the Blue Parrot, which is where that's the rival bar that Signor Ferrari runs.
Mm-hmm.
Signor Ferrari.
They go there to get to try and get transit papers, and Rick is just leaving there.
He sold his bar.
Not quite. Rick and Ferrari are sort of they're chatting. Rick basically says like, Ferrari says, I would bet money that you know where those transit papers are. And Rick goes, yeah, I know where they are, but like I'm not going to say anything. And then Ferrari tries to like cut himself a deal, like I'll help you like sell the papers, but I'll just take a fee or whatever. And Rick's like, no, I'm not going to sell these things. So you're like, oh, Rick's going to try and get out of Casablanca. And then Rick also says, I'm here right now so they can search my place. They're not going to find those papers. So everyone's playing this game trying to get these transit papers. So Rick leaves and Laszlo goes in to talk to Ferrari. Outside, Rick and Ilsa talk a bit. And Rick is like, I'm not drunk now. Do you want to tell me what you're going to tell me? And Ilsa's like, no, I don't think I do. Like, of course I don't.
Yeah. I'm upset.
Yeah. And then Ferrari basically says that he can only get them one transit because he doesn't have the ones they're looking for. He said, I can only get one of you out. And Laszlo says, that's not good enough. I won't leave Ilsa. Ilsa is like, won't leave me. So Ferrari says that I suggest you talk to, Ferrari says, then I suggest you talk to Rick because I would bet a bunch of money he knows where those stolen papers are. So why don't you go talk to Rick? And Ilsa is like, shit, I got to go to my ex for.
God damn.
Yeah, I mean, having to
like
ask an ex for a favor is not great.
Yikes.
It is awkward in its own way. Yeah. So they have to do that. So that evening, there's this weird kind of sort of C plot where at Rick's that evening, this like young woman shows up and Rick's like, you're underage. What are you doing here? And she's like, oh, I'm here with Captain Renault. And you had sort of heard something about her earlier. There's an implication that Captain Renault will sleep with people and give them transit papers. So this young woman is like
that implication.
Well, because
and she's underage. She's underage in the 40s. Wasn't the drinking age like 12?
Yeah, not in Casablanca,
baby.
It's at the end of that. It's at the end of that meeting scene with the police. The secretary or someone says like, "Oh, so and so is here with a visa issue," and Captain Renault says like, "Oh, send her in." And he starts like primping. It's like the implication is that he's gonna try and trade sex for a favor.
Yeah.
So this young woman shows up and says like, "Can I trust Captain Renault?" And Rick is like, No, don't just stop doing that. Like, don't do it. And she's like, well, I have to do it. I have to, it's so pointed. She's like, if you were in love with someone and you would do something for them and they would never found out about it, but you did it because you loved them. Like, and Rick is like, because he's thinking about Ilsa. And Rick is like, listen, this is a bad idea. And Rick basically goes to the back where the casino is, finds her like actual partner, and basically rigs the game so he wins a bunch of money, and then he goes like, cash that, get out of here, never come back. So you see that like Rick is sticking his neck out for people. He does have a heart. He's got a soft spot. He's starting to pick a side, basically.
Yeah.
Ilsa showing up has sort of like brought the freedom fightery kind of thing in him back to the surface. So
did they explain more about that or not so much?
So explain more about like the freedom fightery thing.
Yeah,
not that much. It's really just to.
Do they have they had that? They have that scene with the captain in his back room where he basically lays it out like, oh, you fought with the Spanish Revolution and all that.
It was like they were fighting against Franco basically, and then he ended up in Paris after Franco won. And stuff like that. So basically that all happens. And then Laszlo shows up and says like, I was told to talk to you, Rick. Can we go to your office? And then he's like, can I get those transit papers? And Rick's like, no. He's like, I'll give you 100,000 francs. And Rick's like, no. And he's like, I'll give you 200,000. He goes, make it $1 million or 3. I'm not going to give you those papers. Because Rick has this plan in his head that he's going to finally get out of Casablanca. And then when Laszlo asks why Rick won't sell them, Rick says, ask your wife, which is like, boom, mic drop.
Upsetty spaghetti.
This is probably like the most It's one of the most iconic scenes of the movie, I think, because they leave the office and all the German soldiers are in there and they start singing the German national anthem. And it's like really like putting a sour mood in the joint. I don't know the German national anthem other than like the beginning, but I'm not going to sing it because it doesn't have words anymore. Fun fact. If you sing it with words, it's the Nazi anthem.
I'm sure you do know the French national anthem, though.
I only know a little bit. So basically, the Germans are singing that, and Laszlo goes over to the band and says, "Start playing La Marseillaise," which is the French national anthem. And Rick kind of gives them a nod to do it. So again, he's picking a side. And the band starts playing, and the whole bar gets up and goes, "Les enfants de la patrie," and it's this like sing off kind of between the German soldiers and everyone else in the bar, and they win. And
the German soldiers or everyone else?
No, everyone else. Like the Germans stop singing. And Strasser goes to Captain Renault and basically says, "Did you see what he just did in the bar tonight? He's too dangerous to even leave alive in Casablanca. We basically have to kill Laszlo."
Okay.
It's sort of that's
because they had a sing off
revolution.
Yeah.
I see.
The Germans lost a sing off and they decided that murder was the way to go. But again, keep in mind, this is World War II. The Germans are notoriously the bad guys.
Sure. Yeah.
This is not the worst thing they've done at this point.
We want to go to nationals.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ein perfect pitch.
What's the German word for glee?
For glee.
Do they have one?
Glee.
Glee. Yeah.
I think the word for glee is just whatever the word for like I'm fine is.
Okay.
So yeah, basically that whole thing sort of provokes the Germans to say like, we can't even just leave Laszlo here. Like he'll stoke insurrection and stuff. I was gonna say insurrection from Casablanca.
The necromancer.
That would be an amazing turn for this movie. Oh, Laszlo's a necromancer.
That'd be amazing.
So cut to the hotel. Sorry. Captain Renault basically shuts the place down on Strasser's command. So they shut down Rick's bar because the Germans are sore losers. And everyone is forced to leave.
Gambling as the reason.
Yeah, and as he says, "I'm shocked to find out there's gambling happening here." And then someone comes up and says, "Captain Renault, you're winning." So he goes, "Yes, thank you."
That's funny.
So then you cut to the hotel, and Laszlo and Ilsa are there, and Laszlo's like, "So, Rick kind of told me to ask you why you won't sell these things, and is there anything you want to tell me about Paris?" And she goes, "No." And he goes, "Okay." And then he goes, "Were you lonely while I was in the concentration camp?" And you go, that's what happened. She thought he was dead in a concentration camp when she was with Rick in Paris. And Laszlo's like, "You don't have to tell me anything. I get it. It's fine. But like, we really need these papers."
Yeah.
Basically,
also, like, what do you mean it's fine? You don't need to tell me. Probably a big detail. Maybe you should talk about what
they make Laszlo so like so understanding and so kind, because he really is. He's supposed to be the leader of the resistance, right? Like he's everyone, even though he's not the lead of the movie, he's like the hero of this particular story. Rick is like this side guy who is like, I'm not getting involved in it. And he's like, damn it, I'm inspired to heroism because of him, because of Ilsa.
Okay. Yeah.
He's like chaotic good, or
that's really upsetting.
Good. I mean, more chaotic because of revolution, but
Rick definitely shifts from that lawful neutral to like chaotic good by the end of
really
this movie. Yeah.
Interesting.
If we're still using the D&D matrix.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm going to make up a chart for this and post it.
Yeah.
Find a bunch of different pictures of Rick at different stages.
Yeah.
I think like chaotic neutral is him crying over his drink, listening to as time goes by.
This is good.
But yeah, so then Ilsa is like, okay, I've got to. Laszlo is going to go to this like meeting of the insurgents or whatever, this secret meeting, and Ilsa takes that opportunity to go and basically like break into Rick's apartment, and she pleads with him. She wants those letters of transit. She's saying like, please, like, don't hold a grudge against me. It's something important. Rick refuses, and then she pulls a gun on him. She's like, please don't make me do it. And Rick walks right up to her, and he goes like, go ahead, you'll be doing me a favor. And he's like
he's so sad.
He's so
That
broken.
is sad.
They do
Rick
kiss
Blaine.
in this. They do kiss in this scene. It happens.
Not acceptable.
She does finally explain to Rick what happened in Paris. That she was married to Laszlo the whole time, but he was in a concentration camp. She thought he was dead. And then she only learned he was alive like the day they were going to leave on the train. That's why she left Rick.
Yikes.
Because she couldn't go with him. Yeah. So, what happens then? Laszlo and the Mater D show up because the cops busted their insurgency meeting. And Rick is like, well, you gotta like turn the lights out, blah, blah, blah. He gets the Mater D to take Ilsa home. He doesn't let Laszlo know that Ilsa is there. Laszlo is like, listen, I know that like you're in love with Ilsa. He's talking to Rick. He's like, I know that this is it. And then Rick basically cuts a deal with Renault. He says, you want Laszlo, you want to actually send him to like a concentration camp, but you don't have enough on him right now. So I'll set him up to like come and buy the transit papers, and you could take him to prison. But what I want out of it is I keep the transit papers and I get out of here with Ilsa.
Oh, I don't like that.
And he basically makes this plan with Renault that he's going to set up Laszlo so that he and Ilsa can get out of Casablanca.
This is his chaotic evil moment right here.
Yeah.
This moment in the movie.
Yes, thank you.
And Renault is like, all right, I'll play your game. And Rick's like, don't bring any like cops with you. Come to my bar tonight. I'll set it all up. I'll even call him and set this thing up here in your office so you know that I'm dealing on the level. And Renault's like, all right, great. It'll make me look good for the Germans. I'll take it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then so Laszlo and Ilsa show up for the getting the papers, and Captain Renault shows up and he says like, haha, we've got you. And then Rick says, haha, I've got you. And he pulls a gun on Renault and he double crosses him.
Crisscross.
What?
And he says, you're going to call for like a cab. We're going to the airport now. You're coming with me. And Renault makes like one of those like coded kind of calls to Strasser to alert him that something's going down at the airport.
Yeah.
So things are like moving. We get to the airport and Rick makes Renault fill in the letters of transit, and he says, fill them in for Victor, Laszlo, and Ilsa. And everyone's like, what? And he's like, listen, you two have to go. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to hold them off. Rick's like, I'm not getting out of here. And his line to Ilsa is basically like, you're the reason that Laszlo like keeps going. If you don't go with him, he'll lose the fire. He won't be the insurgent leader they need him to be. You belong together. You have to go with him. That's where you get the, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday soon, and for the rest of your life, you'll regret it.
Because she wasn't going to go on. She wasn't going to go with him.
No, she was going to stay.
She was going to stay. Really?
She was like, she was ready to stay with Rick.
What?
Because she kind of she sort of has fallen back in love with him. And she was ready to stay. And he's like, you can't, you got to go. Like, yeah, Renault, you sign these papers so that
now
these two can get out of here.
strongly dislike this movie.
But this is Rick's big like hero turn.
Okay.
And then they get on the plane. It starts taking off and the Germans show up. And
they shoot down the plane. Everybody dies.
Strasser's going to make the call so that they shoot down the plane. And Rick kills him, and Renault does nothing. Renault's sort of like, listen, he kind of has a line earlier in the movie where he's like, I go where the wind goes. Like, I'll play for whoever is winning.
Jesus.
Because he's just spineless, basically.
He's trying to survive.
Yeah. Well, and then when Rick sort of hatches this plan and Renault thinks that they're going to trap Laszlo, I think he says something like, I'm going to miss you, Ricky. You're the only man in Casablanca with fewer scruples than me.
Jesus.
But basically, Renault lets Rick kills Strasser, other French cops show up, and Renault goes, Major Strasser has been shot. Round up the usual suspects. He doesn't turn Rick in.
Who do you think the usual suspects are?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is like, do they just have these people?
To be those people?
Yeah. Every freaking incident that ever happens in Casablanca, they're like, bring them in. They're just having tea with their mom.
Yeah. So I mean, the plane takes off. That scene before they get on the plane and the plane takes off is where you get the like, we'll always have Paris. Mm-hmm. I think he says like we didn't have it, but then you came back to Casablanca. We got it back because of you. So like Rick is like, this is Rick's like Phantom of the Opera, like it's over now.
Like, and he does say the famous line that he says throughout the whole movie. Here's looking at you, kid.
Yeah, it says here's looking at you, kid.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fun.
Yeah, so they take off. The German is dead. Renault and Rick have covered it up, and Rick congratulates Renault on finally becoming like a patriot. And then Renault, he throws out a bottle of Vichy Water, which sort of symbolizes him like kind of casting off the Vichy regime and being more of a heroic person, deciding to pick a side. And then basically the two of them decide that they're going to like kind of go off on an adventure together and sort of join this resistance.
I want that
Rick
sequel.
says, well, Rick says, Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship, which is another iconic line from this movie.
Yeah.
And the La Marseillaise plays and the movie ends.
Yeah. How long is this movie?
Couple hours, maybe just
under
under 2
hours.
hours.
Hour 40. Yeah.
It moves, but part of it is because it's based on a play, so there's not too many sets. You can usually tell that when a movie's based on a play. The play was called Everybody Drinks at Rick's, or Everybody Comes to Rick's. That's what the play is called. Everybody Comes to Rick's. And then it was adapted for the movie. Now, the movie was actually made in came out in 1942.
Porn version, everyone comes at Rick's.
Oh, yeah.
On Rick's.
On Rick's. Rick sticks.
Throbbing Brandy.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this movie is loaded with those like iconic lines, and so many of them are in that airport scene. You get the here's looking at you, kid, the regret line, the we'll always have Paris, I think this is the start of a beautiful friendship. So many like
of all
amazing,
the gin joints, she had to walk into mine.
Yeah.
This movie
was that there?
Yeah.
Not in that
was
scene,
not the
but
airport.
It's in the movie.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
in the movie.
Oh, sorry. We're talking
Come
about the
on,
movie
Will.
in general.
No.
This movie is
Pay
probably
attention.
one of the most quotable movies of all time. Like when you think of like iconic cinema quotes, I'd say like a solid 20 of them are from this movie.
It's a cornerstone of whose line is it anyway.
But it's got, that's right. But it's got like an insane cast, right? Like we didn't even talk about who was playing whom for some of these, but Captain Renault, the French like police captain, is played by Claude Rains, who was also the Invisible Man and stuff like that. You got Sidney Greenstreet was Signor Ferrari. Oh yeah, I didn't even mention you watch Rick sell his bar to Signor Ferrari and basically set Sam and his staff up. He does sell to Signor Ferrari right before this plan goes through.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is before the plane scene.
Yeah, when he's
it's like when Renault thinks that they're going to capture Laszlo and Rick's getting his affairs in order, and you think he might try to leave Casablanca.
He doesn't go with Sam. Sam doesn't join him on his next adventure.
He leaves Sam. I think he says something like Sam gets like 25% of like the profits of the prize, which is like insane.
Sweet.
But, oh yeah.
Yeah,
he deserves
Sidney Greenstreet, the guy that plays Ferrari, was from like like Key Largo, like a bunch of these sort of film noir movies from the era. It's stacked with like incredible actors, basically.
Yeah, I know all of them. I didn't Google a single one
because my dad is like a crazy Humphrey Bogart fan and loves film noir.
Really?
So like grew up with a lot of this stuff because my dad is crazy into it.
Yeah, we never asked you actually the first time you'd seen this movie or your connection to it.
Yeah. Oh God. When is the first time I saw this? I don't know that I have like a clear memory of the first time I saw it, but I was probably like maybe in high school or something like that. And it was probably just watching it at home with my folks. I probably watch it though, like once a year or something now, because I just really like it. It's a it's a fantastic movie. I think sometimes those movies from older eras age poorly because it's like the acting style of like how you faint on screen and all that kind of stuff kind of seems silly. But Casablanca, for the most part, is pretty grounded. It's basically the way you would shoot it now, not like cinematographically, but like in terms of how they're acting. Like it's not super over the top. It's a lot of just like sort of staring off into the middle distance. It's very like introspective. It's like a way that most movies from that era weren't. Most movies were like playing it too much because they were like, we don't know how to do film. But this movie was like just so like kind of down to earth. And I think that's part of why it ages so well. It's also just like, it's a movie about the war, but you're not watching battles or soldiers. It's a movie about love, but no one ends up happy. It's like it's a movie that like kind of, I don't know, it's like comfortable not tying up every loose end. Like you don't know what happens to Laszlo. He could die. You don't know that he makes it like to the end of the war. We don't see like a montage of like, you know, Victor Laszlo went on to be like nothing like that. The movie just ends like the fight keeps going. But I think that's also because they made it in 42 and they didn't know how the war was going.
Oh yeah, true.
Well, they made this. Wait, did they make this movie while the States was still neutral, right? The States didn't enter.
See, now this is the tricky thing. I can't remember what when Pearl Harbor was, if it was 41 or 42. I think it was 41. Attack on Pearl Harbor was December 7th, 1941. And they say it's December 1941 in the movie. So technically, I would say the U.S. is maybe only just on the brink of entering the war in the span of this movie. So it could be that they actually do think it's hopeless. And that, you know, then Victor Laszlo flies off and unrelated, the U.S. enters the war and the tide turns and it's that sort of hopeful thing. But I don't know that they necessarily knew that.
Yeah. When I Googled Pearl Harbor, I almost said 2001 because that's when the movie came out.
No.
Oh my
Is
God.
that?
Are you telling me that both 9/11 and the movie Pearl Harbor came out in 2001? What a bad year.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
Coincidence?
What a bad year for American tragedy.
Oh, God.
So is Pearl Harbor the movie with that like opening scene has like some blue-eyed baby boy not a baby, but a baby soldier boy get stabbed in the forehead? What's
Someone
that
gets
one?
stabbed in the forehead in Pearl Harbor?
I don't think so.
I can't
What's
imagine
the other
that's
war
Pearl Harbor
movie?
because the whole point of Pearl Harbor was that it was an aerial surprise attack. I can't imagine it starts with a knifing.
Was the other one then?
Saving Private Ryan?
No.
Black Hawk Down.
No.
We Were Soldiers.
No.
Enemy at the Gates.
No.
Oh, that's my favorite World War movie.
No, it's like a one-worder. It's not Inception, that's for goddamn sure, but I feel like it's got the same amount of syllables. Oh, it's Passchendaele.
Oh,
Thinking
well, that's
Passchendaele.
World War I. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think perhaps it was that one.
Have you seen Passchendaele?
Sorry, hang on.
I don't know.
On. You haven't seen Casablanca, but you've seen Canadian World War I movie Passchendaele?
Maybe.
Wow.
It's a crapshoot.
Have you not seen Passchendaele? I thought that was a movie
I've
that...
seen it.
No.
I've seen it.
And I didn't know it was a Canadian movie, but I guess that makes sense.
It's Paul Gross, right?
Sure.
Paul Gross, he played the Mountie in Due South. He was in Men with Brooms.
Oh, yeah.
Slings and Arrows.
Stop. You're just saying words now. I swear to God. I swear to God.
Let me take another dainty drink here.
I just like that I can't see where you're setting it off from. It looks like you're just always holding them and then just rise them in. Ring.
I just summon them when I need them.
Yeah, that's literally what it looks like.
Oh, man.
Okay,
Wow,
I'm curious if any of this rambling has inspired you to watch Casablanca.
You know, I was just thinking as you were wrapping it up, I was like, this seems like such a short movie that I feel like I do want to watch it this evening.
How many times after this podcast do you actually go and watch the movie? How many successful conversions to watch the movie have it? What?
Hasn't happened yet. No.
Not even
No,
like
it's
Fast
great.
and Furious?
Listen. Not even the movie that my roommate talked about that probably once every week is like, hey, tonight we should watch fucking, what's it called?
No
I'm just
Country
like,
for Old
I'm
Men."
busy. Yeah. He's like, No Country for Old Men tonight? And I'm like, no, busy.
Wow. Okay. I really hope you watch Casablanca though, because it's
You wanna know-
so good.
What I saw a little bit of, I actually can't remember the name. It's like, oh, calm down. It's like the knockoff version of Fast and the Furious. What's it called?
Need for Speed.
Yes. Saw a little
the
bit of
one
that.
with,
You saw
Jesse
the
from
Aaron
Jesse
Breaking
Pinkman.
Bad.
I saw just a little bit of that one.
Wow.
And that was crazy
But
too.
Damn, now
Oh,
we
man.
can't do that movie.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
you
saw a
gotta-
little
you-
bit of it. So
You got to watch Fast and the Furious. He lives his life a quarter mile at a time.
I watched Triple X with Vin Diesel, and I will
Oh,
no
no.
longer pay for another Vin Diesel
Vin Diesel
movie.
I don't think this is outrageous to say. I will 100% say that Casablanca is a better movie than Triple X.
I'm sure it is. I think
You come here for
pretty
the hot
much
takes, right?
anything.
Oh, you know what? Rick Blaine sounds like a character Vin Diesel plays.
Yeah.
That's
Totally.
Rick Blaine, I'm here to introduce you to the Avengers Initiative.
definitely-
I
What
don't
is
get it.
Casablanca
Superpower.
Initiative?
Neutrality. Just
Yeah.
kidding.
Getting drunk and angry. That's
Is
his
it on
superpower.
Netflix though? Is Casablanca? It is. I think it is. It is. It is. It is. It is.
It might
was
be.
a long
It's-
time
It's
ago.
a good question. I honestly don't know.
It's not.
It just
'Cause I-
feels like a fast one and one that would make me feel smart watching it. Don't you
It's
ever feel that
dull.
way when you watch an old movie? Like, yes, you're totally lost. You're like, I have no fucking clue what they're talking about, but I feel like I'm watching it and probably my next door neighbor's not watching this, so I'm better than them.
Oh, right. Like you get like the film cred for watching it.
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know
I'm
what
all
you mean.
about film cred over here. Okay.
There's also the thing too where like because they're such like snappy talkers, like all that dialogue is so like everyone's got a retort for what everyone else says. Like
Yeah.
you finish watching it and then like if anyone asks you a question, you're gonna be the snarkiest you've ever been.
You're like,
'Cause
what's it to
like,
you, huh?
It's so goddamn cool.
Yeah.
Everyone's smoking. We didn't even talk about this. The whole movie is just people smoking and
Oh
drinking
yeah.
and playing roulette
Yeah.
and being like, Shaw, she's a beautiful dame, see? And like or whatever they're saying. It's just like it's
And they're
everything
all
I
you
feel
think
like-
about
drinking
the
out of dainty
40s.
glasses too.
Yeah, I think the energy from the film would definitely entice me to start smoking. Just because it seems so
Oh.
glamorous.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Everyone smoked in the 40s.
Glamorous.
They really did.
It's outrageous if you make it through that movie and don't take up smoking.
Oh no.
Ugh.
I think I'll thrive through that, but
New tagline for the podcast. This podcast will give you lung cancer.
yeah. No, but for real, I'm a little nervous about my breathing. I should go to a doctor. Yeah.
Right. I mean, this is a pretty precarious time in our history to be having pulmonary concerns.
Honestly, it is not it's not corona related on account of I have had this issue for like probably 2 years now. But,
I'll be the judge of that. I'm the doctor here.
crazy.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Humphrey Bogart died of either lung or liver cancer because he died early. Like
yeah.
he was sort of old when he broke into movies, and he died at like 58 or something like that. Like he was in his late 30s or 40s when they did Casablanca, and he died pretty young. And
okay.
it could have been because he smoked like
Yeah.
a chimney.
Because
It was in his
yeah,
rider.
the smoking.
He had to smoke in every scene. Well, Alenka, this
Yeah.
is the time where I ask you.
Yeah.
How many kids are you looking at in this movie?
What the fuck
What?
kind of dumbass question was that?
I don't
You
know.
sick
I was trying
cow?
to find a reference that did not work.
Oh,
That was what, kids?
I found a way to tie this back to something movie related. So Will
Okay, good.
brought up children out of nowhere, and this movie
Yeah,
was
seriously.
the screenplay was written by two gentlemen whose last name was Epstein. So
Oh, perfect. So
Brought it back.
good. Brought it back. That's
Ooh.
bumping your grade, honestly, because that was pretty good.
Apologies to Julius and Philip Epstein.
Yeah.
Let's hope they're
That's
not related.
They're probably dead. I'm curious though. What the fuck are you talking about, Will?
When he says, "Here's looking at you, kid."
Okay.
Of all the lines in the movie,
Very
you went with how many
obscure.
kids are you seeing in this?
Yeah.
Could have
Yeah.
said gin joints. Could have said transit papers. Could have said
No.
Probably,
It's
yeah.
How many kids are you looking at
yeah.
in this movie?
In the movie written by Epstein, how many kids are you looking at?
How many kids am I looking at? Probably a grotesque amount, honestly. In that case. Let's not
okay.
use this as our rating system, though, shall we? It's bringing on much sadness. Let's all remember.
Okay, how many
Whew.
cafe Americanos
Never forget,
do you
Epstein
get this?
killed himself. Just kidding. How many cafe Americanos did I drink
Cafe
before this podcast? Oh, baby. You got that espresso and then that hot water Americano version with, I would like a side of Swiss chocolate. That's what I'm reading.
Is that what
this
an
movie.
Americano is? You just add water to espresso?
Hot water, yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Oh,
And
man.
foam.
Americans can't do anything right.
They're not
Sorry to your American listeners.
Oh, man. Americans suck.
Boo.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. What did you think it was?
I don't know. I just order things that sound cool. I have no idea what goes into them.
I love an Americano. Yeah, no, I definitely want one Americano for this movie. I'm going to say double shot of espresso because they're talking about two papers, which are called what again?
They're
Transit papers. Good.
Mhm.
Maybe
Or
a speed
letters of
train
transit
to
or
the Czech
something like that,
Republic. Yeah, the law guy is Czech.
Yeah, Laszlo is Czech.
Mhm.
I'm going to have to fact check that. I really want a license plate that says check that flow, spelled CZECH.
I think that's too many letters for a license plate.
Nah. Listen, I rate this movie well. I just am really thrown off by what Will said. So I just can't.
I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? We'll always have instead of Paris, we'll have the time before Will referenced kids at Epstein.
We'll always have Epstein's suicide. Just kidding. Really want to make it apparent that it definitely did happen. I'm going to find out if this is on Netflix because I do kind of want to watch this. And I know I
Okay.
do genuinely say this literally every
You
time.
ingenuinely say this.
Do I?
Well, yeah, because
I
you've never
think-
watched any of the movies.
Oh, yuck. I have to rent it on Netflix. Ooh, doesn't look like I'll be watching it.
What? How would you even do that?
No, you're right. When you Google Casablanca Netflix, the actual like rent the DVD page shows up.
Do they still
Rent
do that?
Casablanca 1942
I
on
think
DVD
so.
and Blu-ray. Yeah.
Oh my god!
Is it on Amazon Prime? It looks like it is. I might,
Oh, there you go.
but then I think I have to set up my Prime account.
Oh man,
Well-
I got to get back on Prime. I got to start season 13 of Supernatural.
Ooh, yeah.
Haven't seen it. Don't want to see it.
Oh my god, you're missing
Yeah.
out. Hot guys, hot show. That's why I'm there, baby.
Hot guys, hot show, baby. Eh.
Well, Reid, I want to
Mhm.
thank you for coming on tonight.
Oh,
Today,
thank
it's
you.
today
This was-
there, right? What time is it there?
We're
Oh,
only
yeah.
3 hours apart, and you're
Oh,
ahead
true.
of me.
Wait, what? So is
True.
it like lunchtime for you right now?
It's 3
No,
hours.
it's almost 7. It's only
Oh.
3 hours.
Well, I don't know. It just felt like it was like 3 hours. It doesn't feel that much in the
It
evening,
would
but
be
you're
fun
like,
if like it would be fun if like arbitrarily the Yukon was like, we're gonna go on Japan time. Like-
yeah. But also, I was thinking like you're drinking, and like how early did you start? 3 hours ago? No, 9:50. 2
I will
hours
say
ago.
I did not pregame for this podcast because, like I said, I basically don't drink alcohol anymore, and I was worried about what was going to happen. I still brought up Epstein, and I was just drinking these things. So
Yeah, we don't want to
so-
kick you out of your.
This is a big old
ketosis.
cheat day for me, though, so that's okay.
Oh boy, did you have any
Ooh.
past stuff?
No, I haven't. It wasn't that big of a cheat day. The cheat day was literally this disgusting drink.
So disappointing.
I'm glad you wasted it on us.
Yeah, I'm very proud of you, but I just feel like you're living a miserable life.
Oh my God. I mean, the disappointment of that drink is emblematic of being on a diet. So
that's true.
Yeah.
We'll do better next time.
I will try. But next time is probably not going to be as good.
Well, I'm encouraged to come back. Thanks.
Yeah.
You got to finish off that report card then.
Yeah. You're going to be getting an email from me. So
I'm so stressed out.
And where can our listeners hear more of the Podfather?
Well, you can hear me every week on Wednesdays on the Dr. DC podcast. It's a podcast about DC Comics. We take listener questions. It's mostly just an excuse for us to have silly time and talk about stuff. And as of September, I feel fine announcing this here. As of September, there's a brand new podcast coming that I'm on called Ghost Facers, a supernatural rewatch podcast. We are starting season 1, episode 1. We're going to go all the way through all 15 seasons of Supernatural.
That's
starting in September. It's literally that's going to take me into my 40s, I think. So,
oh my God,
man. That's awesome.
Oh,
and last week's episode was great, by the way. It was this week's episode, but it's last week's episode.
Oh yeah. We had Mimi Chan on Dr. DC. She was she's a kung fu master, and she was like the animation model for Mulan. And she came on to talk about Wonder Woman. And by the time you're listening to this, tomorrow's episode, we have a really crazy special guest joining us to talk about the Doom Patrol now that season 2 is done.
Ooh.
Not announced yet.
Not announced
sneaky
yet.
peekies.
Yeah.
I'm upsetty.
We'll share it.
Yay!
Yeah.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Oh yes, thank you.
Well, I gotta go. I gotta do the old plug-a-runo.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Will, are you going to plug us, or are you just gonna sit there and talk about children?
Don't say plug you and then talk about children in the same sentence.
Plug us. Will, stop.
I'm just going to leave this uncomfortable silence in.
I hate you so much.
If you want to connect with us on social media, you can follow us on Instagram. That's at Haven't Seen a Podcast, and Facebook at Haven't Seen a Podcast, and on Twitter at Haven't_seen_it. We post a lot of shit. We post all our episodes there, and snippets and pictures and tons of fun stuff. You can also go to our website, haven'tseenapodcast.com. That's where you'll find all our episodes and the list of the movies Alenka hasn't seen. It's super long and ever growing. Mm-hmm. And you can even like write a little review or a comment on your favorite episode if you want.
Send us an email though.
Oh yeah, you can send us an email. I probably won't respond to it. Maybe.
Okay.
That's good comms work. That's
good job, Will. Vastly disappointed.
Send a heartfelt message to this defunct email address we don't check.
It's probably spam, but
incredible.
But if you do want to leave us a review, you can leave us a review anywhere. iTunes, Stitcher, anywhere else you can leave reviews. I don't think you can review on Spotify, but try it. Just like write something to them.
To us. Oh, to Spotify.
Yeah, and then maybe they'll forward it to us. I don't know if we're that in with Spotify. Are we, Podfather?
I am.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, it was Joe Rogan first, and now they're coming for you next. We're in a pretty tense legal battle with them. So.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
Yes.
I wish you were a great. What's it called? Our fairy Podfather. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? Fairy Godfather.
I could be. I think I need to drink a little bit more.
Yeah.
All right. You don't have to do that. I don't want you to upset I don't want to throw off your ketones or whatever.
Ketones?
I don't know. Do you test your urine with the strip?
No, I'm nowhere near that intense. No. I'm just winging it, like our buddy Zach with his diabetes. I'm just winging it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're taking about as seriously as his diabetes.
One last shout out to Zach Parsons. There you go.
He gets enough. Well, you guys, I say thank you for watching, and unlike Will, moving forward, if you could just be better, that'd be great.